Johnson & Wales University and the Distinguished Visiting Chef Committee proudly presents the Distinguished Visiting Chef Series, an educational resource and video reference library for culinary students and professionals. Today's guest chef, Anil Rohira.
So I welcome everybody to the 160th Distinguished Visiting Chef, featuring Chef Anil Rohira. Round of applause, please. Welcome in. Chef Rohira has flown over 7,000 miles to be here with us today. He flew all the way from Bombay, India, to be here for the chef demonstration. So, Chef, a special thank you for the distance you've traveled. It has to be the longest traveled DVC that we've ever had at J&W, so another honor for you as you arrive. We're very honored to have Chef Rohira here today. As I said, he is a native of India, and he has a rather stellar and extensive pastry career. He started in the United States. He is a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. It's still good. Rather extensive work from the Boston's Grand Hotel in New Hampshire to the Wigwam in Arizona and the Cloisters in Georgia. He also has spent some time working with Ewald Nodder at his International School of Confectionery Art in Maryland. And he has numerous awards in the United States, being featured as, I think, 2 or 3 times as the top 10 pastry chef in the United States. He's a great accolade for him. He's also a great teacher, teaching throughout the United States at the World Pastry Forum and other avenues, as well as judging as well. He's a great friend of the university. He was a distinguished judge for the intercollegiate competition 3 years ago here at Johnson Wales at the Providence campus. So without further ado, I would like everybody to welcome Chef Rohira. Chef Rohira, class is in session and it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning to you all, and welcome. I'm really amazed as to the turnout. I understand we had quite some weather, and for everybody of you to be here today, and I really didn't think, we were a little nervous as to how many students would show up, so great effort, and thank you all for being here this morning. How many of you had a hard time getting in here this morning? How long did you have to drive? 45 minutes? Wow. And that's what it is. It's about discipline, it's about determination, and I see it here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very honored and privileged to be honored as the distinguished chef at Johnson & Wales. It's a huge honor for me to be here and to be with all the elite that's out there. But what was very important for me is to have an opportunity to come and present to you all, because I think it was nervous for me that wow, I'm invited by Johnson Wales as a distinguished chef, and I have to be in front of the students and present a particular subject. The reason being that you will see as you progress in your careers that time flies so fast, and I can so visualize myself not too long ago being one of you at the Culinary Institute of America, and I remember sitting in for visiting chef demonstrations and just looking at the chefs and saying, wow, and how do they do this? And it would be just greatly a privilege to sit there and watch a chef work. And today is an opportunity for me to be presenting in front of you. So I just want to tell you that it's not that difficult. So whatever you see or whatever you feel, I think it's very, very doable, and I'm sure a lot of you will be on it the same way. Another personal thank you to all the instructors here. I know if I start naming them, I might probably miss out one or two, but most of the people that you see around behind you have been very, very close friends of mine throughout the years, and it's because of them too that I'm here today, and it's just the most wonderful feeling to be here and be so comfortable and be in a way so spoiled. You know, everything I wanted was handed over on a platter to me. And one other word of thanks to my student help here. I think they've been amazing to you guys for helping me out the last 2 days. I think it is really special to be associated with any chef, whether it's in your classroom or whether it's a visiting chef, to work closely with them, to see what they do, and to be involved in the process. So I think regardless of how the centerpiece turns out, I think you probably have already learned some, right? Sure. So they've been wonderful. I was talking to you about my time as a student. I think you all are in the best situation you ever will be. I'm sorry to say that things from here will only go downhill, but this is the best situation you will be in your careers in terms of the learning process. You're fortunate enough to be in an environment that is so strongly culinary driven. You are gifted with the most talented chefs in this building, and of course in the new campus across the street. Make the most of this opportunity. Even today I go back to my school notes from school. Pastry has changed, confectionery and the craft has changed, ingredients have changed, processes have changed. But trust me, you will go back and refer to your notes, and it will even now when I look at recipes, when I look at processes and I compare them to where we are today, every time I go through them, I always discover something new. And I say, okay, what is the logic of making as simple a creme anglaise a particular way 15, 20 years ago versus how do we do it today, and the science and the logic. So take as many notes as you can. Trust me, as much as you can write, because as simple a process that may appear today, it will go away because you have so much information that you're fed with here. You may do something 5 times and you may think you have it, and when you move to the next block and the block following, things will start to fade away. So, and we are blessed with the digital age today. You take as many pictures as you can, write as many notes as you can. I still go back and look at them for ideas. Okay? Are you supposed to not talk, or you're okay, right? Is it too early? We're going to be working on a sugar centerpiece today. Anybody worked with sugar before? Everybody? Good. We're all familiar with sugar as an ingredient, right? We're going to see the application of sugar as an aesthetic medium. Sugar, water, glucose, or an acid are primarily the ingredients. And then everybody made a caramel before? Intentionally, unintentionally? Yeah, made a caramel before? Anybody burnt a caramel? We are not on camera. We are okay. Good. And what happens when the sugar gets really hot and it's turning color and you don't know what to do with it, and you just leave the room, run away, and let the fire alarm go on, or you take the pot. Hopefully, don't put in cold water. Just pour it out someplace, or set it out, cool it down. What happens to the sugar in the pot? It hardens. Somebody said hardens? Exactly. So the sugar hardens. Now, it is at that stage or slightly before that when you work with sugar as a decorative medium. So you're cooking the sugar to approximately 160 Celsius. And in order for the sugar not to be very hard, in order for you to work with it, in order for the sugar to be pliable, the use of an acid is incorporated. It inverts the sugar, it delays the crystallization, and therefore you have an opportunity to work with it for pulling, blowing, casting. We are going to be working today with isomalt. Everybody heard about isomalt? It is basically sugar that's treated with enzymes. The molecular structure has been altered, whereby it exhibits different properties. It's not as hygroscopic. It doesn't caramelize at similar temperatures as sugar would. So it's good. So you can get sugar that's pretty clear, and it doesn't absorb as much moisture, humidity from the air, which is a lot around today. One thing I was not worried about coming to Providence was the humidity. I said, wow, it's going to be great working with sugar, and look at what we have. So this is great time to work with isomalt because it's less absorbing. Okay, so we're going to get started. We have, everybody seen isomalt before? Okay, so we have 1 kilo of isomalt, and we have 100 grams of water, and you're going to start cooking this. So you put the water in the pot, put the isomalt in, start cooking on low heat, keep stirring till it comes to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you don't need to stir it anymore, and the boiling process will do that for you. Okay, brush down the sides, work clean, and we'll cook it to about 170 Celsius, about 340 Fahrenheit. How many of you enjoy making a centerpiece? Okay, let me start again. Okay, please be interactive. Ask me questions. If there's anything that's not clear, you are in a learning environment, right? There's no wrong question. There's nothing you have to be shy of. So please be interactive, because if you're not, then my energy level will start to drop too. Okay? So everybody enjoys working with sugar. How many of you enjoy working with showpieces, wedding cakes, the decorative side? What is the most challenging part for you when it comes to making a centerpiece? What is the most challenging part of making a centerpiece? Very good. Structure. What else? Very nice. Design. Excellent. Who said that? Beautiful. Design. Excellent. What else? Colors. How do you incorporate color in your centerpiece? Very good. I mean, we all have favorites, right? Everybody has a favorite color. All the colors are beautiful, and we try to put in as much as we can. Right? What else? What are the most challenging parts of making a centerpiece? Time. Okay. Very good. Security. You want to make sure nobody touches the piece, nobody breathes near it, everybody stays away. Right? The balance, to make sure it's secure enough to pick it up. Most of us get, once you make it, you push everybody away rather than moving the piece to a secure place, right? Right? And I think that the toughest part for me, even today, is conceptualizing the piece, the design, as you said. It's perfect. What should be the design of the piece, and how do I put the elements on? So we're going to talk a little bit about conceptualizing a centerpiece and how do you work out a design. We already have some isomalt that's cooked to 170, and we are cooking some here. I'm going to quickly walk you through some techniques of this piece. We have a base that was casted in silicone, almost like this. But we use these because we're casting it a little thick. But you don't need to have these. You can use metal rods. We used bars yesterday to cast these pieces in. So this is one such option that's available to us. And these were cast on PVC simply because to get a very clear sheen to it. Okay, so I'm going to show you the casting process. And the leaf, please, the leaf. And then I have some pastillage. Everybody know what pastillage is? How many people in this room? About 150 or more. So everybody knows what pastillage is? So do you want to answer that? What is pastillage? No, the mold. What is pastillage? Very good. It's powdered sugar, cornstarch, right, gelatin, and maybe an acid. I'm going to show you, we have some pastillage here. I'm going to show you how to airbrush it, and then I'm going to place it in the mat and then cast it. Okay. So I think it's on this rack here. Yeah, this one. So this is what we did. It's cut out and it's airbrushed. So add some here, give me parchment paper, half a sheet. So we have some pastillage that's cut out with a mat. And what we did was we sprayed first. So whenever you airbrush, always airbrush from the outside, go into the piece, airbrush some yellow, and then some blue. Now whenever let's say I'm looking for green, I want to spray green, I don't take green straight. If I can combine two primary colors to get a secondary color, then I prefer to do that because it's going to give me some tinge of yellow. Okay. So you see, I have three shades there now. I have yellow on the outside, and I have some tinge of greens and blues. And before you spray it, you can take a brush and take some gold dust and just brush it on the pastillage. I let the pastillage dry a little bit, roll it out again so the surface has cracked open, and that gives some nice texture to the pastillage. So you can take this, place it in here, and then pour sugar over it. Okay? So this is how these big pieces were cast. Okay, so I can do this. I'll show you. Ideally, you would let the pastillage dry a little bit. So maybe you can do that. Okay. So take the sugar. That's that. You take a torch and get the air bubbles out. That's it. I'll keep this here for it to cool down. So in the next hour or so, you can come up and have a look. I'll show you the other technique, that is bubble sugar, half a sheet of parchment. And we're going to be using this in a little bit. So we take parchment paper, the mat, crumple it up, open it, pour some ice malt. Now, a lot of times you might have some paper that may not bubble. What you can do is lightly rub denatured alcohol on the parchment paper. Everybody see the bubbles? Denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol. You can get it at Home Depot, I think. It's really concentrated alcohol. Don't try to drink it. Okay, you might have an emergency situation. But that's bubble sugar. Okay, so we're going to see some of this as we come out. So everybody's clear with how this was cast? These were cast in noodles, silicone forms that were bent. Some of these pieces were cast in neoprene mats. So you want to show the red one? Yeah. Mats like these that we cut out. And these were also cast in forms like this. And then after they cooled down, we took it, we warmed it in the oven slightly. The sugar was pliable, like this stage here. You see, where it's pliable. And we just rolled it around a tube form or a plastic container. And we cooled it down, and then we took the form out. And so we had the spiral. So those are the basic techniques where we are right now. So I'm going to add some more. I'll show you how to put pieces together. I'm going to add some more. You have the green cast pieces, right? Let's see if we can use those. I'll put all this away. You know, once the mat that you just showed, the green. Now, whenever you work with sugar, make sure you always wear gloves. It is to protect the sugar from your hands, not so much your hands from the sugar, okay? If you don't wear gloves, it's very easy for the sugar to pick up fingerprints. So make sure you wear gloves. And the thinner ones, I want the thinner ones. So how many of you have experienced sugar burns? Bad, huh? I think it is a difficult medium to work with, but I also think it's the most fragile too. And one small hit, and the thing will come down. Well, I think it's also the most dramatic medium to work with. In very little time, you can make 3D centerpieces. It's very vibrant. It could be transparent. So I think it's very, it's a very attractive form of decorations. Unfortunately, the most fragile and susceptible to the environment, to the humidity. Okay. Put this away, please. Show you past the edge. Anybody's any questions so far? Anybody would like a cup of coffee? Danish? Chef Hitz's famous bagels, right? Everybody? So if you see that the sugar is more like a thick consistency, it's not taken straight off the flame where it's boiling and it's really hot. And these pieces were cast yesterday, okay? Because we wanted to make sure that we come in and we have time to do everything else. So I put these pieces up, cast these yesterday. Wooden spoon. I'm going to take this, it's nice and thick. I'm going to put this here. I'll get the leaves too, please. Huh? The leaves. No, the sugar leaves. I'll get the sugar leaves. Okay, so some sugar there. Goes up here. About 4 or 5. You want to be patient. You may feel that, okay, it's glued on, and I move and I start putting other pieces on. Sugar retains a lot of heat, and you will find that if you put the piece on and you walk away, and if you have a large sum of sugar, what's going to happen is the sugar will start to move. You may not even realize it. The movement will be so gradual. And what's going to happen is 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, when you're working on the pieces and you go back, this piece may end up 15, 20 degrees away from where you want it to be. And it's very difficult to do anything at that point, because that's when it has actually solidified. And then you have very little opportunity to fix that, okay? So it's best that you take an extra second, you take your time, and make sure this thing is cold. And it's easier when you have help, right? You can walk around and say, make sure it doesn't move. Now, the intention of putting this piece on is not to line it up with this piece, because what's going to happen is when you look at the piece from all around, you want to see some separation. You don't want to see something very one-dimensional on the surface, on the top, from the side. So I've kept a little gap in between these pieces, okay? This is intentional, so it's slightly at an angle. You'll see when the piece, when we are close to completion. So what we have here is, have you seen this before? This is blowing cold air, okay? So it helps the sugar to solidify faster. This is a dryer used for pets. Everybody has pets, dogs? I believe once you give the dog a bath or something, you use this to dry it off. But it's good use for sugar because it blows cold air, and you have the intensity of going high or low. You can reduce the speed, see, and go back up. Okay, I'll show you how we made these leaves. The mold, please. No, I think we're good. Very good. So you see from the where you see from the side, okay? This is going to be the side of the piece, but you see the movement it has going out. It's not just one piece; it's going away. So I've covered more space here. So this is the leaf mold we have, and what we did was you can either color it or go clear, pour some Isomalt around. And we didn't pour it all the way inside. We didn't flood the mold all the way. We went around the edges and kept it open, just to give it some lightness, and so the piece is not very heavy. Okay? So I'm going to put some of these leaves on. And once you've cast it, cool it down. Meantime, I'll put these leaves on. Now, this is the most trickiest part of where do you put the leaves? How do you position them? Okay. So can you blow it cold? Cold. Give me a glue stick. Yeah, set this down, that's fine. Thank you. So what is the most difficult part about coming to school? Anybody? Do you all enjoy it? Are your instructors around? Okay. How many of you enjoy waking up early in the morning? Me too. So what I have here is I like to call these glue sticks, just to reinforce. So whenever you put something on, I make sure it's stuck at least two places. It has two places to hold on to, not just one place. Just in case if it's not done well, you have hopefully more stability with the other place where it's glued onto. So always make sure it's there. And whenever you construct a piece, you want to make sure it's three-dimensional, okay? Just don't look at the front side and say, this is the front, don't look at the back, because if it's a good centerpiece, it's got to be 3D, it's got to be 360 degrees. You can't say, this is the front of my piece, don't look at it from this side. So you want to make sure it works all the way around. So that's why the positioning of the elements is very important. So I think the framework of my piece is complete, okay? Framework is done. You gotta be cautious, or you've got to be conscious, better word. You've got to be conscious of what else is going on the piece. I'm just creating now, I'm creating room to put my supporting cast. Let's call this supporting cast. Okay, this is not my focal point. Everybody understands focal point? Everybody enjoys movies? Everybody likes to read? You go for a movie, you always have you have a character around which the whole plot revolves, right? The whole movie. Like, let's say it's whatever. Let's say it's a James Bond movie. You got Mr. Bond, right? And then you have support cast. Okay. So likewise, in a centerpiece, you must have a focal point. You must have a place. You must have an element that becomes your focal point. Everything else revolves around your focal point. You've got to be very careful about the positioning of the focal point. Can you light this, please? You've got to be aware of the positioning of the focal point. You've got to be aware of the movement of the other elements. That's good. You've got to be aware of the movement of other elements leading to the focal point. Okay? So our focal point here will be a rose. I'm going to show you how to pull a flower, a rose. Simple. But the key component here is, where do I position the rose? What color should the rose be? And what are the other elements that will lead towards the rose? Okay, so the rose in this case will be of a very strong color. The color, I'm going to use color as an element of movement. Okay, the color of the rose is going to be so strong that no matter where you are, where you look at the piece, your eyes will flow towards the center, towards the rose. So you can use color as a medium for movement. Okay. If you want your sugar, if you want, so this is, I'll show you, this is the bubble sugar that we, see the holes in there? Okay, very simple. So we're going to break this, put pieces, we'll put it in the oven, and then we can bend it. I'll show you. So we'll flip it over, torch it on a silk pad in the oven. Okay. So back to the rose. Since this is the focal point of the piece, the positioning of the rose, the color concept, the color coordination of the entire piece in reference to the rose. How do you want to position it? How do you want to place it? How many roses do you want? No matter where you are, when you look at the centerpiece, your eye should move towards the focal point. Okay, that's your main component of the piece. So therefore, I've picked a very strong color. I'm going to use color as a concept of flow, of movement. Okay. Now, if you want shine to your sugar, you have to pull it cooler. The cooler you pull it, the thinner you pull it, the shinier it will get. Okay. You want to pull the leaf off the mold. Okay, that's the leaf that we made. You can torch it very quick, put it in the oven, and we can bend it just till it gets a little warm. clear. Don't put too much heat on because you might lose the dimension, the texture. Same thing, we're going to torch the bubble sugar and we put them both in the oven. Moderate oven, it's about 200 degrees, 225. And we put it for a few seconds, maybe a minute or two, and then we'll take it out. Okay? So we'll keep this fluid. So the harder, the cooler the sugar is, the thinner the sugar is, the shinier it's going to get. So you see, it's hard right now versus this. Okay, it's rather soft. So I won't have much shine if I had to pull a petal from this, a thick petal. This would be my rose petal. Okay, it's thick, and you see it's still warm, right? I'll put it here, and you can see at the end of the class that it won't have much shine. Versus this, hard. I have to really work hard at it. Stretch it. Pull. But the friction that it causes could be really irritating to your fingertips, okay? So this is the center of the rose. But it's cold now, see? It's already set. But it will have decent shine by the time we're done. So therefore, you have to make sure that the sugar is on the cooler side when you're pulling petals. So I have to really work it. So I'm working hard at it. Pull it. You're going to say, Chef, why don't you just work it warmer? Work it like the green was. But you're not going to get the shine. So one. And because of the friction, at times you might have to go through a pair of gloves once in a while. So to a point, pinch, bend one side. I have a burner here. Put it around the first one, two, and if it gets, you see, I can still work my way. See, I have to really work hard at pulling it, and a lot of times I'll rip the glove because I'm applying so much friction. And because of the friction, this is good. Yeah. So the leaf, bend, twist, pull. Okay, that's it, simple. Okay. That's good, huh? So, and if you don't pull the sugar will be transparent. If you want the sugar to be transparent like this, you don't need to pull it. If you want the sugar to reflect light, then you must pull it. You incorporate air, and the sugar is no more transparent. So the light will reflect off the surface of the sugar. And that's what you want when you're making the, oh, thank you. Yeah, those are good. Beautiful. Thanks. So once we get past these, we'll go to that. Okay. So I'm putting the sugar together, keeping it tight and compact so it retains the heat. I'm going to work just on a small piece of the sugar, not the whole mass. Don't touch the rest of it. Pull it to a point, pull it aside. In you go to a point, push down, pinch. How many of you are good pinchers? Anybody? Come on. Okay, in and around. That's the center of the rose. Okay. So bubble sugar here. Set it here. Take some, lift it apart. Nice and clear. Stretch, pull. Abstract form, we'll save this, we'll use it later, huh? So just keep it out there. And these will complement the leaves. So you can put this and in it goes. Okay? Very simple, very light, and very effective with space. I'll talk about space in just a little bit. So now that I pulled a pedal from here, I've moved to the side, up, side, go in, pull, one, go back, two, one more, three. The reason I'm demonstrating a rose, because in my opinion, this was the first flower I learned. And I almost quit my career in pastry when seriously, I thought, God, I mean, when I saw somebody make this rose, I thought, okay, it doesn't look too bad. When I tried to make it, I was looking at other career options. I said, I don't think that pastry is for me. I don't think I can handle making flowers. This seems to be the basic flower to make a rose. And it was just not working for me. It looked like everything but a rose, you know. It was heavy, it looked like a cabbage or lettuce. I was just seriously, I was just so frustrated. I clearly remember. How many of you have iced a cake? Wow, most of you. Do you remember your first cake? And how was that experience? Did you see the chef demonstrate the cake? Right? And then you remember how yours looked? Yeah? And what were you thinking at that point? You're going through stress, right? I had to go see a doctor. I had to really... no, seriously. But how many of you think can ice a cake now? Right? How many of you like to show off your cake decorating skills? Come on, we all, right? You make a cake at home, you make a cake for a loved one, and everybody else, you know, you have your friends, your relatives, your neighbors come in, and don't you feel good about your cake decorating skills? Yes. Right? And you remember the first one you did. So what was the difference between your first one and your cake skills now? What was the difference? What changed? Practice, right? I'll tell you one thing. Seriously, it's a secret, okay? In my career as a pastry chef, I do not think, or I do not really I've not experienced. I have been a student. I've seen people demonstrate. I have seen people do amazing stuff. I've been in awe of these personalities and the work they do. But I'll tell you, as a professional now, I do not believe I can say I know one chef that I have been exposed to that can do things that nobody else can. Right? I don't think there's any one chef that's so talented or that's so gifted that can demonstrate something that nobody else can do. I just believe that that particular chef has put in the time, the dedication, the energy, the efforts to master those skill sets. I don't believe any one chef was born and to be that brilliant that to do something that nobody else can. So do not be discouraged. Do not be. You will be frustrated. You will go through times where you almost don't want to do things, and you want to go back to resorting to things that you know, things that you do. Especially when you progress in your careers, you'll say, oh, you know what? Let me just make this because I know how to do it. And the time, the effort, and the energy to do something new, something different, something you don't know, may just diminish. But you have to push yourself. If you want to grow, if you want to get good, you cannot stop learning. You cannot stop developing skill sets. I don't think it's never too late. And I don't think you have ever enough skills to say that, I'm good enough, because the world is changing, the competition is out there, the information is out there, and I think you just need to be a part of that equation. You cannot stop growing. Graduating from Johnson & Wales is not the end of the road for you. Okay? Let's try these, chef. I remember this place is very special to me. In 2002, the school was hosting the Coupe du Monde. Everybody familiar with the Coupe du Monde tryout? It is an entry competition to be a part of the US national team for the World Cup in France that happens every 2 years. And I decided to enroll for the tryouts, and they will be conducted at the university school year. And I remember preparing endlessly for the competition. It was quite a challenging year because we had some of the top chefs compete in the tryouts to be a part of the US team. And it was a one-person team. I mean, you were by yourself, and you had to make an entremet glacé, plated dessert, and a showpiece in 8 hours by yourself. And you were allowed to bring in some cake bases and stuff, but you pretty much had to do everything else live. And when I was going in one of these shops, I think in this building, I was building my centerpiece. And halfway through the centerpiece, I hit the piece and it came down. And the feelings at that point was that I don't think I'm cut out to do this. I don't think I want to do this. What am I doing here? It's the weekend. I would be better off, on the tennis courts. I really didn't have to rush into entering this. I should have gained 2 more years of experience and then try it out. Within a second, I had like 50,000 thoughts of me not wanting to be there, just because I had had a situation that had damaged the piece. But I was there, I had time, and I didn't want to just walk out of there. I said I'll do the best I can. Of course, under tremendous stress. So I continued working, and luckily everything else was okay for me, and I had time, and I could rebuild the piece. And everything else went okay, and during the judging, and it was not just me that had problems. There were other chefs that had problems in different areas. Maybe there were chefs that didn't have any problems at all. But at the end of the day, I had pretty much executed what I had come here to do, or close enough. And I had put out everything went out on time. And when the results came in, I was very fortunate to have done very well in the competition. And I got on the US team. And it's a huge deal to represent the States in a World Cup event, and especially being on the team because of what you had done and what you had prepared. And I think it was the most satisfying experience for me was in this campus. And I remember, seriously, I did well, and I was the captain of the US team. And I remember going into one of the corridors in the restroom, and I burst into tears. I couldn't believe it, seriously. And I didn't want to do this in front of other people, but it was a day when I was in one of your restrooms, you're crying because I was on the US team. And 4 hours ago, it was the most frustrating moment of my life because I had just hit my sugar centerpiece and it had come down. And that would have meant that I would have looked small, I would have looked bad, I didn't do a good job. But at the end of the day, if you don't try, if you don't push yourself, you will be amazed at what you can do. So I think the biggest limitation in doing something is in the mind. Always use the example of the first cake you made, or glazed, or decorated, and you just have to go from there. Okay? So we built a rose here, and we're going to put it on now. Can you bring the other roses? We've pre-done some roses. Now the key is, how do I position these flowers, and where do they need to be placed? Okay? The flower is going to be the focal point of our piece. So you can take these leaves off and we're done. So the positioning of the focal point. Now it's possible that I could have made just one flower, a nice big one, in ratio to the other components, but I think it would be nice to put more than one just to reinforce the focal point. So I might go with 2 or maybe 3. So let's see. And the positioning is important, okay? Take this. There we go. I think I have one. Yeah. Sometimes it comes easier and sometimes not. Okay, but I think in this case, I think I might have a place for this. Make sure you heat it really well. Try not getting some on your fingers. Okay. There we go. Yeah. What's that? Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah. 1 second, I'll be right there. Hold that, and just put your finger there.
What exactly is your job in the chocolate factory?
Nice, good. What exactly is my job in the chocolate factory? Anybody of you been to a chocolate factory? What is the most exciting thing there? What is the most exciting thing in a chocolate factory? What is that? You get to eat it. Even same thing. When you get to eat it, that's exactly my job, right? It's the best thing. I go to the factory, which is in Switzerland. I work for Falcon. I'm the corporate chef for Falcon in Switzerland. And it's great. If people ask me, where do you go to work? I said, I'm going to Switzerland. I'm going to work. First of all, it's a gorgeous place. And then working for Falcon, that's exactly my job, is tasting chocolate, right? Part of product innovation. Product application, product demonstration. We have Falcon's a company that distributes chocolate worldwide. We are very fortunate. We have Mr. Hans Baumann here. He's handling Falcon for us in the United States. And my job is to work with corporate Falcon, which is in Switzerland, and to travel around the world demonstrating to our fellow chefs and our distributors and the sales team the applications of chocolate as an ingredient, as a decorative medium. So our job is to work with chefs to understand their needs, their requirements, come back to the office. We have an exceptional R&D development team and tell them this is the state of the industry today. These gentlemen are food scientists, they're technicians, they're people that work on the manufacturing side, whether it's the roasting, whether it's the refining, whether it's the conching process. We have experts in each department. We got a laboratory that handles product quality. So our job would be to say that I think there's a need for this line of products. We get that information a lot of times from our partners. We work on developing products, fulfilling the requirements of the industry, and making sure we provide our chefs with high quality products, whether it's couverture or fillings or other products. So it's really great because you're doing pastry anyways, but the opportunity to travel globally, to meet different chefs from different countries, different cultures, different local ingredients, I think it's the most fascinating experience I've had professionally, is to travel around and work with chefs from different parts of the world. So that's my job, and eat as much chocolate as I want. You all have a little gift from us, and there's a whole range of origins and percentages. Please, if you have an opportunity, I think read through the brochures. It'll be very informative on the process that goes into making a premium couverture. Okay, I think it's really good, regardless of the brand, that you understand what chocolate is and how to put it to its best applications. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
How do you get the color into the
Very good question. How do I color the sugar? Well, we used yesterday food coloring here that we got from the shops, and we put it at any time during the cooking process. So once the isomalt comes to a boil, is when I would put it in. Question? Sorry, one second. When you position the elements, right, you want to be, especially if it's the focal point, you want to keep it together. You don't want it lined out. So putting the roses together makes the focal point even stronger, and your attention goes straight to the flowers, okay? Good, huh? We'll make sure it's secure. The reason I decided to pull a rose is, I was telling you, in my opinion, I think it is the most difficult flower to make, seriously. You will see centerpieces. You will see centerpieces with different flowers. You will see abstract flowers. You will see people saying, you know, I worked with abstract, this is an abstract modern centerpiece. All that is great. But I think what still stands out is the classics. You know, you can never outdate. 10 years from today, if somebody sees the centerpiece, they might have a situation with the structure. They might say, okay, you know, this is a little outdated. The form is a little old. The form is redundant. That's fine. But if somebody looks at the flower, even 10 years from today, they'll say, that's a rose. You know, there's not much you can do about that. It is what it is. It is the most difficult flower in terms of assembling of the petals, in terms of positioning, in terms of forming the petals. It requires some skill sets. If you can get, in my opinion, if you can make a rose, you can do most flowers that are out there. Okay, so I tried to design a piece that was a little more modern in structure to explain to you the concepts of design and flow and movement, but I stuck to an old traditional classical form of flower, just to reinforce that, as simple as that may appear, as you can say, as classic as it is the most difficult flower in my opinion. So if you want to develop your skill sets, if you can make a flower, you can be convinced that any flower that you see out there can be made, okay? Most flowers, especially the abstract kind. I'm going to show you how to pull a ribbon. Everybody seen a ribbon? Okay. You know what, before I do that, I'll just come around there. I'll tell you quickly the concept of a few principles of making a centerpiece. Whenever you design, I'll take that. Whenever you design a piece, you must have one. Somebody said design, right? What is a design for a centerpiece? Hard. I told you the most difficult part for me is to conceptualize a piece. What is design? When you talk of designing a piece, you're talking of making a plan. You must have a plan. Like anything else, if you want to buy a car, you have a plan. You want to buy a house, you know how much you want to spend, you know the kind of car you want a sports car, you want a sedan, you want a minivan, mileage is an issue, gasoline, the distance you travel. You have all these elements in your mind, right, before you're going to buy a car. Likewise, before getting into making a centerpiece, you must have a plan. You must conceptualize what are you trying to achieve, how far, how tall, how wide, the color schemes. Don't start cooking sugar, melting, tempering chocolate, and then say, okay, what do I do now? Okay. Your objective as a professional is, of course, you want a piece to be very attractive. You want it to be, get a lot of acclaim, praise. You want to push your skill sets. Okay. Even today, the most challenging part for me is to design the piece. So I'll just walk you through a basic principles of designing a showpiece. So you must have a plan. The plan in terms of form, shape, size, color, movement, focal point, entry point. Is that a lot? All these words are making sense? In your handout, I read 2 or 3 books on color and design, and I've tried to condense all that information in your handout. So it might be a little summarized, but I'll just get you an idea. Is there any marker somewhere? Yeah, thank you. So you must have a form. Let's say if you were to build a centerpiece, right? What form should you go into? Let's say this is my base. You want it to be structurally sound, right? You want to be able in a position to take it, move it from one place to the other. Okay? You want it to show off. You want to present it. You cannot have a centerpiece that's flat on the table. It would be to notice it would be difficult. Somebody have to really come close and see on the table and say, well, this is great. Let's say if I had a centerpiece that was like this, flat on the table, versus a centerpiece that was like this. Which one's more noticeable? The tall one. Now, talking of the tall one, which one is more elegant? This one or this one? We're just talking form, structure, okay? Which one is more elegant? Okay, the circle. Now, which one has more movement? This one, right? Now, if you want to build a piece, and you see this, if you see the piece that we have, it's a combination of these two. This is to go vertical, to get height, to get attention, and the form of this is to get the elegance in. Now, if I went with this form, it becomes, I have 2, if you cut this off, I have 2 elements going up the side, right? I have to connect this in some way. This should be good, and this could be the area of focal point, in this area somewhere here. So what I've done is I've combined these two, okay, to get the height and to get the movement. Whenever it's just the way I see. Normally you would prefer forms or structures that have straight lines or curves. You will never like something like this, right? It's too busy, it's too disturbing. Your eye will generally follow forms that are pleasing, okay? Not so much like this. So I've combined the two. Okay, let's talk about theme. How do I position my theme? Let's say you're given a theme for a competition, okay? How do you present the theme? How should you start working? Most times you'll say, what can I do to put a theme out there? Let's say the theme is love or seasons or circus or whatever the case is, right? I think the primary objective in constructing a centerpiece is to make sure that you're structurally very sound, especially in competitions that are geared like today, like the World Cup or the show in New York, or whether it's Lyon or whether it's Phoenix here. Structurally, your piece has to be very stable. You've seen centerpieces going up 4, 5, 6 feet tall. You cannot have something like this on a base, because it's going to break from here. When you put your focal point, the weight has to be balanced to hold all the components. So structurally, it has to be very sound. If you see this piece, the one we are making, it has 2 feet. It has strong, see, that's our base, right? And I have 2 of these that are like legs. They're standing really strong. And I'm building off those. So although there is gap in between, and but the shape, and it's almost like having 2 legs, like your body is standing on these 2 feet. Those are the feet. So structurally, I think I have a strong base, and then I'm going to build off that base. Now I could have had this whole piece as one, okay? By breaking the piece, you're taking off from the stress points. So I broke it in half. I have this, and then I've just added a piece off here. So instead of this being my joint here, I have created more surface area, okay? So I have this and I have this. I have created more surface area to glue my piece. So my surface area, first of all, is vertical, which is stronger here, and it is larger than having one that's like this. Okay, instead of this being my joint. This is my joint, you see? And you know where I got this idea from? The concept of this piece. And most times you'll see pieces going up and going tall and ending to a point, right? I went the other way. I've kept it thinner here and I've gone up wide, just to give it more drama. It finishes up. And I got this idea, you will not believe, from this place. I know this is a school that favors Pepsi, but I got this idea from the Coke can. You see, you must be aware of what's around you. See the Coke can, you see this line here? That is where I got the idea for the design of this piece. Okay, so it's around you, okay? You have beautiful things around you. You just have to be aware. So this piece was inspired by, I don't know if we have to pay them or how this whole thing with the patenting works, but I didn't say that, okay? So this is the inspiration for the form, okay? Now regardless of what the focal point or the theme is, let's say give me a theme, you can incorporate it in this structure. I know my piece, unless you can never be 100% sure, you may always have a time where something might break, but for the most part, I think structurally this is strong. So based on this concept, I designed the structure of this piece. So I said, this is going to be my glue mark. I'm going to go from thin to off, and I'm going to spread out from the center going out. So I'm going to give the piece a lot of volume on both sides, okay? And this part coming together will hold the focal point. Are we good here? Now, another element is of space. Anybody here went to dancing school? Come on. Anybody wants to be a volunteer here? Come on, I need one person.
April, she has to. Yes, do it.
Come on, who's coming up here? Come on. Great. Give her a hand, okay? Great. Okay. So you went to dancing school, right?
For 14 years.
14 years, brilliant, excellent. So your name is?
Ashley.
Ashley, thank you. So Ashley, now look at Ashley when she stands straight, okay? Stand straight, Ashley, like this, okay? This is a good form, right? So now consider this as our centerpiece, okay? Ashley is our centerpiece here. So if you look at the elements of the centerpiece, right? You've got Ashley, she's 2 eyes, nose, hands, legs, right? Now, Ashley, give us your best dance pose. The best, come on, you can do this.
What
Just
form of dance?
any form that you like, yeah.
Oh gosh.
With using your hands, legs, positioning of the neck, any,
Okay.
just hold. Beautiful, okay? Everybody, now just look at this. This is Ashley, right? The same elements of a piece. You've got her eyes, you've got her arms, you've got her shoulders, hands, legs, same components. What has changed with Ashley? Actually, just hold it there for 2 minutes, please. Thanks. Okay, what has changed with Ashley? What has changed? Movement, right? The positioning of the elements. The elements stay exactly the same. What has changed with Ashley is now Ashley has incorporated, if you see, look at her fingers, so nicely spaced out. Look at her toes, look at her hands, right? So Ashley has now stretched herself from this point on all the way to here, right? This space here, this space here, this space in between her fingers, it's very elegant. Thanks, Ashley, thanks. Okay, great job. Okay, stay here. Okay, so when Ashley, put your hand out again, just the one hand, put it out. So this part here from Ashley's face to the tip of her finger, this part here from Ashley's tip of the finger to her toe, all of a sudden this part here, and when the hands stretched out down, this part here becomes a part of your piece, right? This is negative space. This is space that now you have encroached upon. This is your space. This has become part of your piece, and it's very elegant when you have space. You're just taking space in, and you haven't even done much with it, and you've assembled your forms in a way where you have taken space, and it makes her look more elegant, a lighter form, and more dramatic, right? Thanks, Ashley. Thanks a lot. Thanks, yeah. Great job. Thanks. So it is how you represent your elements, okay? Everybody good with this? Now let me quickly tell you about color. Okay, okay, let me give an example here. Maybe I have to quickly rush. Okay, I have show you how to use color as a form of movement. Okay, can everybody see this? What stands out there? Which one? The black one. Why? What? They're all approximately, let's say, the same size. I didn't do a good job there. Okay, they're all approximately the same size. The only thing that has changed here is color. Okay, and it's a very strong force to draw attention to. Your eye, no matter where you start, will help you move in this direction. Color as the means of flow. Using color as a means of flow, movement, direction, getting your attention. Okay. What else can you use as elements for flow or movement? Buddy?
Shape.
Shape, form. Yeah, excellent. We spoke about that, right? We saw Ashley, form, shape, and movement. That's great. Very good. Texture, wonderful. How do you see texture as a form of movement? Anybody gone to the beach? Anybody seen? When you sit at the beach, you have this huge mass of water. Okay, where do you think your eye is looking at when you're looking at the beach, the ocean? There are two places, generally, where your vision will be drawn to. What are those two areas? Would you say it's right? Very good. Would you say it's right in the middle of the ocean? It's either the horizon, right, where the sky and the sea come together, or it's at the shore where the waves break in, because the texture there is different. Okay, you have to use mass of water, and when the waves start to break in, when the waves start to ripple in, is where you will be drawn. So whenever you're making a centerpiece, it's a good idea to incorporate smooth. It's a good idea to have some texture, some rough areas. Especially it's beautiful with chocolate. When you're ordering chocolate box, some shine, some gloss, some matte, some texture. It's a beautiful form to draw movement to. Everybody's good with this? Okay. So be aware of these things before you go into the making part. I think the making part is practice, skill sets. The conceptualizing part is the intellectual part. Most times, unfortunately, in our business, we get geared towards the physical aspect of the business. You know, we have a recipe, we start scaling ingredients, we start mixing ingredients, we start baking, and then we start tasting. I think baking or mixing rather, or recipe is the very last step in the baking process in pastry. And I just realized this recently. I've been in the business over 15 years, 20 years. And I just realized a couple of years ago what we do with the recipe is the very last step in a process. The step that precedes that is the intellectual process, understanding ingredients, understanding baking science. As boring as it may be for you today, as excited as you may be to construct your showpiece, your first wedding cake, your glazing cakes, you're making your buttercreams and frosting a cake, the most important thing I cannot stress enough is baking science. Probably the first block you go through, is it? Yeah, it is the baking science, understanding your ingredients, understanding ratios, proportions, percentages. If you are in a situation to understand ratios and proportions, you really don't need, I mean you do, but you really can work without recipes. And that's what I try to do now. You know, I try to understand the formulation and try to see if I can come up with a recipe myself and not depend on one. Especially when I'm traveling, it's a little exercise for me. I try to say, okay, let me try to figure out the percentage of liquids, percentage of solids, percentage of balance between chocolate and cream and milk and eggs, cremant glaze with chocolate and cream without the use of gelatin. I mean, that's the process you want to get to, where a recipe becomes a secondary. The understanding of ingredients and the science of how they work with each other is the most important thing. Okay, I'm going to go back now and finish the piece. Everybody's good here? Just keep here. So I'm going to pull a ribbon now. Thanks, Jesse. I have red and green. Now the color scheme, one other thing with color is you do not want to add too much color in your piece. Just stay limited to 2 colors. That's it. And most times it's a good idea to use colors that are diagonally across one another on the color wheel. Everybody's familiar with the color wheel? Okay, so you have primary colors, you have secondary colors. And the colors, if you have a look at the color wheel, the color that's diagonally across from red on the color wheel is green. Okay, so the choice of my colors for this piece is red and green. So the roses are red there, and everything else is tints of greenish blues. Okay, so not to just take a green straight out of a color container. I've added a little bit of blue. Rather, I've taken blue and yellow and I made a green, just to give it some personality of its own. Because if you're doing a competition, most times, most contestants will take colors from a particular color company, and if it's orange or if it's red, everybody will have the same red. So I try to give my colors a little personality of their own. In this instance, I've taken the red and put 2 drops of black, so to give the red some intensity. Okay, I need a glue stick. Take this turner. Be careful with this. I'm susceptible to lighting fires. I've done it 3 times before, so I did. I was at the forum once, and is this being recorded? I think the organizers there may not be too happy. I took a container of cocoa butter, put it in the microwave. I was heating it up to melt it slightly. Somebody had a question for me. I turned around and I got involved with answering the question. I don't know how this happens, but did you know cocoa butter can catch fire? Did you know that? I've done it. It was amazing. And the students are like, chef, fire, chef, fire. I'm like, where is it? Behind. Okay, so I'm going to place the ribbon. Now, before I pull the ribbon, I am just trying to visualize where and how am I going to place it. So I think I'm going to go up this way and then come down this way or this way, okay? I'm going to show you a 2-sided ribbon. Red, green. The key is the sugar should be the same texture, same temperature. Place it on. One side red, one side green. Pull. Join. And pull me one more spiral somewhere, huh? Pull. I'm going to just shut this off for now because it's warm enough. I think I'll go one more time. Okay. Warm it up. Go in there. I know I'm nervous too. It's just to make sure you have a place to reinforce it so it's stuck in 2 places. Okay, cold. Lightly, lightly, low, yeah. You don't want to blast it because it's going to. Okay, so now we can go back in. It's good. It's important that you really take your time and glue this thing down so you're not worried about it moving, you know. And keep it good. Keep it confined to your dimensions. Don't stretch it too far out. Don't make the piece here, because you know what? At some point somebody's going to hit into it. So you see it ends almost at the same point. It's got some protection here. The extension is just a little bit light. It's not too far out. Even here it follows the same line, follows the line, and it's kind of protected. It's not way too out. Okay. And then this you don't waste. You just hold it on and you can make light. I'll wait for this to, it's a little bit on the cool side. I'll wait for it and it'll come together and you can make small little curls and small ribbons with this, okay? We have those little clear pieces, you know, the fan. And I can always reinforce the theme like this, like here, okay? I can go like this, and there. Yeah, a bunch of those. I think this is good. And you remember these guys? It's very easy now to just give the piece some negative space that we were talking about, like we saw with Ashley, right? So I'm going to just get some more space and some lightness into my piece, okay? Yeah, that'll take. Thanks. Make it faster. Questions, anybody? No? So you see the techniques are rather simple. What's going to take you some time to get is the rose and the ribbon. But otherwise everything is simple. It's casted. It's a good idea. I would encourage you to, something that I learned over a period of time, is to look at other professions other than ours for ideas, for inspiration. You know, now Now I get a lot of my ideas from children's books. My kids are small. They read a lot of kid stories, and I got a lot of my ideas from what they do at school, from what they're reading, from places that I shop with them. Okay. I know that sound is not good. Of sugar cracking. Unfortunately, you can hear it pretty good. Okay, cold. One second back. So this ribbon is off. I was so keen on getting this piece there. It doesn't want to stay. Okay. Cold. So I'm just going to make another ribbon. Okay, quick. It might be easier. So you get to see it one more time. Yeah.
Make a casting centerpiece that goes underneath the sugar.
Yeah.
Once you airbrush that, is there any way you seal in the color? Does it ever bleed when you pour the sugar?
Yeah, it does. If you see the one that we just casted, it bled a little. The good thing is that the thing you can do is you airbrush it the day before, let it dry overnight, and then cast sugar over the next day. Good question. So you will, it's only sugar. If it breaks, you better, you're better off not freaking out and giving it up. Just do it again. It's only sugar, right? And it doesn't take long. So green and red. Okay. And I don't mind if some of the lines come through. I like it that you can see what's on the other side. And one more time. There is no fix that you have to, flip it 4 times or 5 times. It depends on the thickness of sugar you start off with. Keep it here just in case. Hopefully not, but I'm glad it broke because this is better. Maybe it's too early to say. Huh? 1 second. That's it. Take this away. We have more of this. So if it's too big, it's supposed to break. Let me do it again. Okay. Hold. Bring me the green spoily stuff, you know. Keep one here. Now you clean as you go. Make sure that's good. Save this. Sure your workstation is clean. How much time do we have? Can I show you something? How much? How much time do we have, Chef? Should I show you how to just make a quick blown heart? I think I would like to. So I can show you blown techniques, right? So quickly warm this up. Has everybody known Chef Stanley here? I have a new hero, really, and he is an incredible gentleman. Incredible. He's, I don't know if I should give your age up, Chef, but all I can say is when I grow up a little bit, I would love to be like him. The energy he has, the dedication he shows to our craft. I really, I mean, I will take back with me being the distinguished chef here, meeting all my colleagues, my friends. But one thing that definitely I learned on my trip here is that the motivation, the dedication, and he's really inspirational to me. Thank you, Chef. It's a pleasure meeting you. He's been with the university, with the school for a long time. He's been here helping every single distinguished chef that has come around this way, except for 3, you said, right? 3 out of 160. Isn't that amazing? And he travels, he comes, and when the chef comes in, he's in with the chef. And of course, he has his restaurant, Castle, right? I want to come and visit that someday. But it was a pleasure meeting you, Chef. So I'm going to, what color should we do the heart? Faster. What do you guys think? Have we missed out a color yet? Have we named pretty much all the colors there are? See the color scheme, okay? I told you we want to keep it close to 2 colors. What is the theme here? I've got red roses. I've got green. So we're talking about love. We're talking about maybe spring. You see light greens, right? So what's coming up maybe? Would this be appropriate for Easter? Okay. Okay, Mother's Day, would this be appropriate for that? You can say, probably. Not bad, right? Mother's Day. So I'm going to keep it close to the color scheme. Good. That we spoke about. Red and yellow is orange. I'm going to maybe hit it with a little airbrush. I'm going to work fast here, okay? So I'm going to make some orange. Primarily a little bit more red, and then airbrush it. We have some sugar crystallized hearts too, you know. I think it's on one of the racks, you know. The ones, right, the ones that are in here, the crystals, you know. So, blown sugar. Even temperature, the key. Make sure that the path is clear. I need the sterno. The sterno. Okay, so uniform. Temperature, don't touch it too much. A little small, just a small heart. I need the red color for the airbrush. Okay, small sphere in there. These are not the ones from today, right? These are not the ones.
From yesterday, Chef.
Which one?
Those are from yesterday.
Yeah, we made some this morning. Okay, warm, touch, in. Okay, always in front of you. Scissors. Okay, just blow a little. Sure it takes air. See the expansion? Don't touch it. Just make sure it's in front of you, away from the tube. Okay. Move it up. Stretch a little bit. Nice. Stretch along. A little more. Take your scissors. Hold it. Score it. No, I'm not trying to cut through. I'm just trying to indent it a little bit. You want to make sure you don't press it together either. You want to make sure that there is the passage of air is open. See that? See that? You can always blow some more air. It's okay. It's okay. We'll fix it. Okay. So you go. Where's the flame here? You can always join back. Okay, we're back. So it takes air. Now just give it slightly an angle. That's it. I'm going to cool it off. Yeah, see, those are the stones. I'll break those, huh? Make sure it's nice and cold, huh? Rocks, figures. Yeah, one of those hearts. The other hearts, you know, the crystal hearts. That too, I'll take that too. Look. So normally you can just, warm it and take it off, but we have a break here naturally, which is not bad. I'm going to just warm it up a little, bring it together. Chop it off here. It's my scissor. Ah, there it is. Thanks. That's perfect. Thank you. So don't like to cut it straight, just give it a little angle. Heart. Here. Take some clear sugar. This. Guys. Cold, huh? Just give me some cold air. Just give me. Cold. So, generally when you make a piece, right, just like I was talking about, giving an example of movies, when you make a piece, you have, you must try to see if you have an introduction to the piece, that's your introduction right there, this part. I got some hearts, I got some rocks, this is the development, and that's the conclusion. Just clean up here, thanks. Just take a little bit of, reinforce the theme now again with the color. I can do a lot now. I got some hearts here. I can go reinforce the color here, a little bit red. I can go green. I can go brown, a little bit dark there. Go red here. Go red with my bubble sugar here. Makes it a lot warmer, the color. And some of this clear sugar. And a little bit of green. The green, good green. Thank you. It's all about love, huh? Space. Yeah. How long?
Yeah.
Did it take me? Well, how long did it take me to make it? if you don't include all the long, lovely lunches that I had, I couldn't stop getting off. I was so spoiled. Beautiful breakfast at the back. I'm being fed every 2 hours. So if you don't take that into account, I would say, how long would you say? About a day we can do this? 6, 8 hours. Okay. He's good, huh? 6, 8 hours. Wow. Just reinforcing the color there a little bit. So red and green will make almost like brownish black, right? So I'm reinforcing that. It's okay because it gives you more earthy. This is about the earth, the sand, the growing or the introduction phase, you know. Okay, that's good. I'm going to bring this around. Wow. Right? And peel the plastic off so you don't break it. And look like this. Okay? So this is the elements of the base. Now, the good thing, I mean, I shouldn't say the good thing, that, what we kept in mind while building this piece, everybody has a good visual to this. If you look at the piece, it has, I won't tell you that don't look at it from here, it's the wrong side. The piece is 360 degrees, okay? Sure, there will be a more suitable side, a place that you would like people to see, the way you will present it. But if this was a competition piece, as a judge, you would say, okay, you know, it's a 360 piece. You can say, we have a 360 vision too, but we have eyes only in the front. If you look at the back of us, there is a side that's more attractive, and there's a side that's okay. So this is, I would say, the more attractive side. Nevertheless, the design or the form is more 360. Okay? So anybody has a question about? Now the key is, how do you transport this, right? How do you move this? I can pick it up from here. I can bring it to the edge of the table and pick it up from the base. Okay? But if it was a competition, I would trust this part here, and I would pick it up from here. You see? And I would place it here. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad that this piece made it. It takes the pressure off the second demonstration in case it doesn't. They have something to look at. But nevertheless, if you look at the colors again, just 2 colors, it's just green and red. It's reinforced throughout the piece. From the heart here, to in the ribbons, in the decor. I would say if I was presenting this piece, it could either be like this, like this, like this, or like this, right? So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them. If not, yeah, please. How much would I charge for? Let me talk to my 2 guys here. Of all the stress, I think. No, it's a very, very good question. How much can you charge for a centerpiece like that? What would you say? What do you think? How much? I came all the way from Bombay, okay? How much can you charge for this? Normally what you do is you go by the hour. You think, you know, how much is your time worth an hour, and how many hours did it take you to do this? Let's say it took us 6 hours, right? So how much are you worth per hour? $100 an hour, $600. You think it's fair? Yeah. I think so, right? So there you go. Good. I think so. It's about, I would say about $600 for that piece is a fair price. Okay. So thank you all for your time. Thank you for attending. Thank you. And the faculty and the staff of Johnson & Wales. Thank you for inviting me, and thanks for
You're welcome.
the
Chef,
honor.
we would like to thank you very much. You know, just sitting back and watching everybody, I think we're just all inspired, just the visual of it. And really, I think we also appreciate your lesson on design. That was absolutely incredible. So
Thanks.
a big round of applause to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before Before we depart, we have a little presentation for you, so if you wouldn't mind coming on over to the front.
Just clear this out. Let's take it away. Put this away.
I'd like to first present to the audience Dr. Stanley Nikas, who is the founder of the Distinguished Visiting Chef Program that began in 1979. Chef Rohira is our 160th Distinguished Visiting Chef, and in honor of your wonderful lesson and being here today, we would like to present to you the Distinguished Visiting Chef Medal.
And I have to say, he probably was one of the hardest working distinguished visiting chefs we ever had.
Hardest working. Thank you, Chef. That take us all for it.
Yes. Okay. You can put it back on.
Thanks, Chef. Thank you. Good honor.
Congratulations. That was
Thank you.
great.
Thanks.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah.
That's a nice bit of bling, it looks like.
Nice.
Chef, thank you very much. Much
Thanks.
appreciated. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mary. Thanks for that.
I'd also like to, before we depart, thank you, some special guests that are here today. Dr. Vera Gall, who is the Provost of Johnson Wales University. Associate Dean Christine Stan, who is the of Arts and Sciences. We have Akhil Gupta, who is the Vice President of Providence Campus, and Dean Kevin Duffy, the Dean of the College of Culinary Arts. Thank you for being here today.